Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. We are now joined in the studio by Faith Nwadishi, the Executive Director for Center for Transparency Advocacy, CTA, who launched a 2023 General Elections Perception Study on citizens' understanding of the mandate of INEC, and also a compendium on the 2019 general elections and off-season elections from 2019 to 2022. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Nigerians.
Yeah. This perception study, what is actually the overall phase of the outcome of that?
Okay, so we launched the perception study because leading to the 2023 elections, there were high expectations. Citizens were enthusiastic about the forthcoming elections. We had just finished the off-season elections with the Osun election that happened, and you saw all of that. But by the time the 2023 election came, we saw mixed reactions.
Yes.
And we decided to understand why people had those kind of reactions, even though they were quite enthusiastic going into the election. So now we're looking at it from one, because when you talk to people, let's say you're looking at that election, you're saying there are security issues. Everybody is knocking the leadership of INEC and saying, if there's a security issue, INEC should have taken care of it. If there's vote buying, INEC should have taken care of it. Women were not fielded by political parties. It is INEC that should have done it. So we decided to do this perception survey to find out people's real understanding of the mandate of INEC, so that you begin to understand why they have those kind of sentiments that they have, and why everybody thinks that when something has gone wrong, it has to be INEC.
Just INEC, yeah.
So that's
even if somebody's voter's card got missing from his wallet.
Exactly,
INEC.
exactly.
Okay.
So that's on one part, and also to get suggestions from people on how to fix some of the issues that we see that are glaring. So in doing this, we launched an online survey, and luckily we got over 10,000 responses across Nigeria. We went to 30 states, including the FCT, to conduct focus group discussions.
Okay, 14 states.
13
okay,
states.
13.
Yes, two per geopolitical zone and the FCT.
So you selected the states randomly, or for some obvious reasons?
No, just randomly. We selected the states randomly, and we had two per the southwest, southeast, northeast, northwest. We had all of those states covered, and then the FCT, so making 13 states that we did focus group discussion, that's face-to-face conversation on what the issues are. Now, the reason why we decided to do that focus group discussion is, when people are having conversations about issues, when you go to either some gardens, or even go to the newspaper stand in the morning, everybody is an expert on all the issues.
Yes.
But as soon as you bring a camera to say, this thing you are saying, can you do that? You say, no, I don't want to be quoted. So we looked at the different stakeholders in the electoral circle. For instance, we had security people in the room. We had youth, we had ad hoc staff, yes, we had politicians, we had women's group, we had observers, representatives, group representatives, about 8 different groups that we brought into that focus group.
And what is your summation? What is your finding? So
our finding is very interesting. Our finding is that, number one, people have different duties that they carry out on election day, and they are supposed to carry those duties independently. For instance, security is an independent person in an election. But when something goes wrong in a place where a security officer is already tilted towards a particular political party, he comes up with a different narrative. If he or she forgets first and foremost that I'm an independent player on the field, when it comes to, I'm supposed to protect all lives, all properties, I'm supposed to do that. But because of the person's leanings, or the fact that the person has seen maybe likes the ideology of certain political party, and so when it doesn't go well, it's there. And then we also found out that even from amongst enlightened people, people that should know, is that they don't know that elections are fought and won at the polling units.
Not at INEC offices.
Well, not at INEC offices, not at the ward level. At the ward level is where collation happens. So once we don't get it right at the polling units, like for instance, somebody asking to say, why did the INEC chairman release result 4 a.m. in the morning?
Yeah, and you think there is nothing wrong in that?
No, because it was a collation process.
Okay.
Which is not time bound. It's not
restricted by any.
It's not restricted by anything. Yeah. As the results are coming in, you are announcing the results. You can as well keep that result and say, you know, we have had elections in this country where after 1 week, we have not even seen the result.
Yes, and people complain. Meaning that maybe that time lapse was to manipulate.
And you know, the funny thing was that I was at the National Collation Center on that day. As soon as all the results came in, the chairman of INEC refused to leave that his table. He sat down there to collect everything. He refused to take a break.
Is it deliberate that people are using this to blackmail?
Because they don't understand. That's what the perception survey is saying.
Okay.
They don't understand. They don't understand.
And who should make them understand?
Then who should make them understand? Number one, INEC should make them understand. National Orientation Agency should make them understand. That responsibility of carrying out voter and citizen education is what should make them understand. That this is the process. This is who is responsible for what. This is what we have to do. Elections are fought and won at the polling unit and not at the collation center.
Yesterday we brought someone from Yaga, Africa. Paul James, they also released their report yesterday. We don't know whether they termed their own dash hops with a question mark. Exactly. Your own, you didn't say dash hops. I think your own raised the tempo. Yeah, is it deliberate you raise tempo, or maybe the parameters you use in the study is different?
Okay, so the perception survey is also different from our observation report. Like we also say, observation is simply put, what you see, you just report. You are also an independent person. You're not supposed to be moved by emotions or whatever comes out.
You must remain unbiased.
Yes, you must stay unbiased. You must ensure that you report the way you have seen it on the field. So let's take, for instance, a lot of reports are saying, one of the conclusions we have is that technology played a significant role in our election, and this is playing out. Technology when you consider it, that number one, for the first time you have about 84 million persons who collected their PVCs.
Yeah.
But you didn't have up to that number come out, about 30% or so
just
came out.
25 million
to come out to vote. But it also shows that we have moved from a situation whereby you used to have 93 million people on your voter register. You have over 80 million people who come to collect the PVC. And when results come out, you are looking at almost 50 million people or 60 million people who have come to vote. But when they did not vote, now you now have the PVC that has captured the real people who have come out to vote. And because of all those processes, for the first time, we are, like what we wrote in our report, that for the first time we are seeing a National Assembly that is like a mini Nigeria. A mini Nigeria in terms of having all the different culture, the different voices, the different opinion. Now you have
all the demographics.
Yes, now you have about 6 to 7 different political parties for the first time in the history of our country.
So if I get you right, Fed, it's like Nigerians, majority of Nigerians have not been fair to INEC.
Well, everybody have their own opinion. In one way or the other, some of those things that has gone wrong, we have overplayed them and downplayed those things that went well, that we should actually be projecting so that more progress can be made on that, while we correct the mistakes and the challenges that we see coming this. And you know, everywhere, globally, everywhere, elections, every time you have an election, there are always issues and challenges. The most important thing is the commitment to be able to address that. For instance, let's take the election offenses commission.
Yeah, because during your presentation, you made recommendation for establishment of election petition tribunal.
Yeah, election offenses commission. You understand it?
Yeah.
So this is one area where recommendations have been made. The last assembly, 9th assembly, took it a little step. We also sent a memo to the committee that was looking at that, but unfortunately, it didn't.
Who is blocking it? This wonderful initiative.
Perhaps we should, as
Election
citizens,
offenses commission. We have all sorts of commissions in Nigeria. When you go and check, you wonder. Some have been, they are guzzling billions. You don't even hear about them. But this is something that will fine-tune our elections.
Exactly.
Who is blocking it based on your findings?
So perhaps
and it will take pressure away from INEC, right?
Yeah, it will take pressure away from INEC, and it will also now have a specialized institution that is handling that. If the security agents, because one of the challenges that we have in prosecuting election offenders is that election offenses are committed within a particular jurisdiction, and perhaps in that place there's an IPO that has been set to that case. Maybe that IPO was sent there on election duty. As soon as the duty is ended, the person goes away. There's nobody to follow up. He writes a report and hands over either to the DPO of the station
and within where it happens. Power to prosecute cases.
You have to follow up on all of those cases. But when you now have a specialized institution, it is easily done. The institution itself will be the one that will take up those cases.
Meaning that the commission will be able to prosecute offenders?
Definitely. The commission will definitely be able to prosecute.
It's like you don't
offenders.
want to say it, but I want to blame it on politicians who use, INEC as alibi,
so you can also blame it. Why you say that you can blame it on politicians is because at the National Assembly, it's politicians that sit there. The president is a politician.
Yes.
So along the value chain, the people who should make this happen are the ones who don't want to see it happen. Again, you have some government agencies that feel that, if you have this commission, it will be taking away some of their jobs. But if we sit down as a country, we find that we have so many laws, we have established so many agencies that are not working because their mandate is not properly defined. But you see, this commission, its mandate will be properly defined, and because we keep having elections, we're preparing for an off-season election. I was just when I was listening to your last guest that I was talking about the Kogi election, and I told my colleague nothing will take me to Kogi election.
Oh, you will not go?
I will not go to Kogi. If you send me to Kogi, I will not go because the last election I was almost killed.
The last season?
The last season election in Kogi
What really happened in your experience?
Yeah, so we went there. The violence was out of the world. The violence in the last Kogi election was out of the world. I was on ground in Kogi with my team members in Ganaja, very close to Ganaja, one of the largest polling units clusters that you have in Kogi State. And we're just that they had blocked the roads. They didn't allow people to pass. And we're just there, waiting so that they can open the road. And suddenly we saw people surging. I even came out from my vehicle, which was a mistake. I came out from my vehicle to say, we are observers. We are not. We are already bringing petrol and other things to put to somebody. It was just a stroke of luck. The driver in the vehicle had turned. Something just pushed me into the vehicle and we moved. From Ganaja to Lokoja is less than 10 minutes drive. Yes. We had to go back to Kene to come back to Kogi, to
dozens
Lokoja
of miles away
on that election day. It was during that same election a woman was burnt. Before
the PDP,
yes, the PDP woman leader and all of that. The kind of violence we saw in the last Kogi election, I have never seen all my years of observing elections in this country. So if we continue like that, we don't change the narrative, people will be afraid to come out. And who are the perpetrators of this? Is it the political class?
And they are the ones who will make the election offenses commission happen, and they don't want to make it happen. They will champion this crusade now.
We have to champion it. Civil society, citizens, the media. We need to champion it. We need to support the electoral umpire for this kind of reforms that we are seeing happen. And before the 2023 election, more polling units were created that resulted to about 176,000 for ease accessibility of citizens to where they're going to vote. Now, even on election day, citizens were still looking for, after there were messages that were put out on how to locate your polling unit. So it is time now. Citizens, we need to also take up some responsibility by ourselves to understand the electoral process, understand the role that we have to play. For instance, we complained that people didn't have access to polling unit. The electoral umpire came and expanded the polling unit so that people we have access to polling units where they will go to vote. And they still didn't make that effort to find out where they will go to vote. Some of them were still coming to their original places where they were going to vote. And when they didn't see their names, what they were saying is that, oh, they have removed our name from the register. Our guest
yesterday said someone called him from the South. He's here in Abuja, but someone from the South called him, asking him to help him locate.
I'm telling you.
You spoke on technology. INEC to boost its technological, right? What happened to the one they deployed? Is it that they deployed it a bit late, like the Rivers and IREF? And how can they optimize them ahead of elections in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo States?
Okay, so the issues that INEC had with technology during the presidential elections, we didn't see those for the governorship and House of Assembly elections. It meant that some of those issues that were pointed out for the presidential elections were taken care of. And it is an incremental progress. When something happens and you are able to nip it at the bud and you go on. We all know that technology, even the people who developed it, still have issues with technology everywhere. The thing that we really need, to look at is the cost of our elections in the country. Now, take for instance, you are a presidential candidate. It means that your political party would have to deploy party agents in the 176,000 polling units. But in other climes, it is your party members that will volunteer themselves to do that.
Okay, no need for you to make this. But this time around, parties have even to submit the names to INEC and all that because of lack of trust.
Yes, it is good that you submit those names. Now, let me tell you, because we have advocated for those names to be submitted. Party agents need to be accredited. Before that accreditation, political parties will print their own accreditation by themselves. You will see the political party name and say facilitator. You want polling units. And then at the end of the day, when you even go to investigate, some parties will print logos of other parties and give to their party members. So you will not think, oh, these people are all different parties. Meanwhile, they are all one party. They are all just, being there to show that they are different parties.
But Faith, you know that, of course, saying reducing cost of election, most of these agents, they feel that election season is their season to get, even if it is 2,000, because they know that after the election, until another season. What do you think politicians must do to disabuse the minds of the electorate that this is our project? You will get rewarded, not cash, but in terms of services. So
the first thing that politicians must do, especially those who are elected, is to fulfill their campaign promises. Fulfill campaign promises. You can't come to my village. My village you are coming to, maybe it is not motorable. But because of election, during campaign, you will come to my village and promise me that, oh, in my first 100 days of office, I'm going to make this road motorable. I'm going to put pipe bomb water. And we wait for 8 years, and you never. The first 4 years you didn't come. After the 4 years you came back again to say, oh, priorities and all of that. It is in this country we saw the governor didn't work very well, and the father came out to say, when you are in school you fail, you allow the child to repeat. Just allow him to repeat so that he can do that. And we all laughed over it. These are very serious issues. People don't fulfill their electoral processes, their promises. It's about just using people to dump them. And when you continue to do that, people will wait for you at the end of the day to say, this is what we're doing. I was just saying the issue around political party members who voluntarily go to polling units as party agents. But here you go and recruit party agents because they're not your political party members. Political parties come with fictitious names of members on their list. I tell you, if we sit down to critically look at those names from the different communities, it may just even be the same names, because there's no way to verify that these are the people who are members of this political party. And then most of these political parties, they don't pay dues. Only very few people pay dues. Yeah. You see them recruiting people only during election. When you have won an election as a governor, the party in that state, people now begin to write their names on the list. People never, even if it's as little as 50 naira, let people pay dues so that they will know that this is a collective project and that they have a stake in the party.
Finally, in less than 30 seconds, beyond the, publicizing what you have done so far in the media, what do you intend to do to disseminate it to the grassroots? Okay, so what findings? Yes, in 30 seconds, please.
So we have coordinators across the 36 states, everywhere. So we want to simplify this and send it as much as possible in pictures, so the local community, and encourage more voter education and citizen mobilization on citizens education on electoral processes.
All right, thank you very much. Faith Umadishi, Executive Director of Center for Transparency Advocacy, CTO, for coming to the program.
Thank you for having me.
We make a difference altogether with this wonderful job you have done.
Thank you.
And viewers, that's a wrap on today's edition. We sincerely hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics live, airing every weekday, and also our special package on Friday, during which we open our telephone line for you to comment on national issues. So tomorrow is your day. Once again, we thank you for watching. Bye-bye for now. I'm Hamza Idris.